Okay, I'm going to keep working on this intersection reconstruction. So just to recap on the first video, we built up total model, which is basically creating the roads and putting the curb returns in and setting up the widening to the new curb. Then what we did is we created some drape strings, and these are strings with a template that are matched to the design surface, in our case total model. And then using model builder, I created a model for the islands and the roundabout as independent models, which we will use later. So in this new version of the software, if I expand out the bottom part of model viewer, you can see we've got some new commands in here. I'll talk about a lot of these commands. We'll get to import MV data later. It's basically what we do in model viewer we can output back into CAD. Some really handy tools include grabbing, building a surface from satellite data, which I'll get to, and also importing aerial imagery for the site. It just uses Bing Maps to do so. So my detailed survey sort of ended just before the boundaries, and what I want to do is just increase the surface area, and I do this for a number of reasons, but I suppose the 3D visualization will look better. But sometimes you just want to get some extra surface data in so that the batters will form. So I'm going to run surface from satellite. This is a new command. First thing you need to do is you need to pick your coordinate system. And I'm pretty sure this one is MGA 56. Pick a color for when I'm showing this surface in a shaded mode. Rather than just going in and creating this surface directly, I'm going to tell the software that I'm going to reference the detailed survey. So when you do this, you need to pick a point. It can be a point anywhere within that detailed survey, but it'll shift the levels of the satellite surface to reference that surface. It also means that when I go in and confirm satellite data, the software sort of knows where we currently are. So if I click on confirm satellite data, you can see it's loaded up a map of where we are. You can see in the corner that's the intersection that we're working on. Now you can see the roundabout and the island's already here, and that's because this job has already been completed. But now in regards to the aerial imagery, it really depends where you are in the world as to the quality. In this area, the aerial imagery is not absolutely brilliant, but you'll get the idea. So anyway, if I click on define area, I just pick on 2 points just to give me enough space, and I also set a grid interval which I might make to say 5, so that's how many points it's going to bring in to build this surface, and I select on accept. So the software is going to read in the elevations, it's going to triangulate another surface for me, and it's also going to bring in the aerial imagery as well. This is good for guys who just want to do some conceptual design as well, and maybe don't have the detailed survey yet. So I'll give this surface a name. I'll just call it we'll call it sat surface. Click OK. I'll get to model viewer display later on. So you can see the aerial imagery has been brought in, and you can see I've got some contours displaying. Those contours have come from the satellite surface. And if I go to toggle display, you can see that the satellite surface is appearing there. I might just turn contours off for all surfaces for now. In regards to that aerial imagery, it's been located exactly where we want it. I'm just going to fade it out so we just sort of see it in the background. Now what I want to do next is create a combined surface. I want to combine my detailed survey in with the satellite surface. So I could do this through Model Viewer, but I'm going to try running it outside of Model Viewer and run the Combined Surfaces command. So I'm going to say that my base surface is a satellite surface, but I want to include and trim in my natural surface, which is my NS surface, which is the detailed, and I'll turn off total model. So all we've got is a satellite surface as the base and the detailed surface. So we click OK to that. I'll call this new surface base NS and click OK. Alright, so you can see that surface appearing there. So if I click on toggle display and turn the triangles on for that surface, it's actually, and you can see it there, my satellite surface comes in as a grid, but the extra triangles there are from my detailed survey. So I've essentially combined the two. So I'm going to turn off the mesh for that. Okay, so next step for me now is just to visualize what we've done in Model Viewer. So I'm going to open up Model Viewer, and all we see at the moment is the that combined surface. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. First, I'm going to open up Toggle Display, and I'm going to turn on the total model surface. That's the base surface. I'm going to turn on each of those islands and the roundabout and style them with master. Master's your design style that can really include all code combinations. So you could get away with just working with the one design style called master and appending code combinations with materials to that. And the base surface will be the combined one. Oh, let's reset that. Let's tick that back on. Make it master. And we want to use the image from satellite data. This is new as well, so even if you've done a survey and you want to directly drape in aerial imagery from online data, you just run that command, hit edit, and then you can go through and confirm the data that you want. So if I click OK, everything's refreshed here. So we can see the aerial imagery. As I said, this is not great, this aerial imagery that I've got, and I suppose ideally bringing in an ECW or something higher quality will get a better result, but that should be okay for this example. I've got a wider area in the viewer because of the satellite surface, but I still am referencing the detailed design. So one new command you'll see, new functionality we've got, as I hover my mouse you can see that tooltip appearing, and that's useful because it's giving me chainage offset information, crossfall of the road, and it's also giving me the levels of my design surfaces and also a level difference. I find that quite useful. Okay, so now that we've got this model displayed in Model Viewer, the next thing I want to do is show the line marking. Now in CAD, I've laid out some polylines. I have a layer called LM roundabout, and I've drawn some polylines where I want some broken line work around the roundabout. I have put in a layer called LM chevron, and I've just really roughly drawn in some chevron marking. I did rush this this morning, and I've got some other line work for some single continuous line work around the island there. So all these lines have just been, polylines have been drawn on different layers, and using the new line marking tools in the software, we will be able to tell the software to look at the polylines in a particular layer and style them up. So if I open up Model Viewer, and go to the line marking tab. I'm going to run the command called marking setup, and you'll see that we now have a by layer option. So I'm going to add in a few layers here. So I've got line marking chevron, line marking roundabout, and line marking single line. So basically for each of those layers I pick a line marking style. So chevron, I'm going to pick on chevron. Roundabout will get this, we'll go 300mm 0.6, I think that's what we use, and the single line can just be the continuous 150. And then what I do is I pick what surface these will be draped to. So all of these should be draped to my total model. We'll see how this looks anyway. Now if you had all these layers set up and defined with a particular style, you could save this table and just load it in for future jobs. So anyway, if I click on apply, you can see there that the line marking has been added. If I was to start moving those polylines around in CAD, I would simply need to refresh Model Viewer and the line marking would update. So I won't go into too much more detail on how this has been set up. Maybe in another video I'll show you how you can go in and create your own styles. Although what I might have a quick look at is that continuous line. Maybe I didn't apply the right style for that. I think I apply continuous. I probably want small increments. Sorry, that's better for tighter line marking. Let me just fix that one up. So I might just change that one to continuous smaller increments. The other one's good for a continuous 150 line over a large distance. There we go, that looks a bit better. And the small increments just calculates it at a tighter interval. In fact, if you want to see how it's been calculated, if I was to turn on the wireframe mode, you can see for the chevron marking, it's just draped over the total model surface, and we've just interpolated a grid of points to accurately drape that. Small increments just means we've just got a tighter increment on the draping of that line. So on a large highway, you'd probably want to avoid using that tight small increment style because it might be too slow. Now that tooltip keeps coming up and annoying you. You can hit Control T to temporarily turn it off. In the viewer settings, you can go to the tooltips tab and turn it off. Control the hover time before it loads. Maybe I'll make that 2000. And you can also pick and choose what information you want to see. Now the other thing I was going to very quickly do is through this area here, rather than having grass, I'm going to right click and change that material to maybe riverstone. There we go. Okay, so we're almost at the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to end this video, and when we continue I'm going to put in some signage and show you how we can get the line marking and the signage back into CAD, and also talk about a few other new reporting commands that we've added in Model Viewer as well. And if we've got time, I'll do a render of this intersection as well if you want to show clients what we're planning on doing.